Welcome back to News in Focus. Now, EFF leader Julius Malema is not happy after President Cyril Ramaphosa announced his cabinet on Sunday night. The Red Berets have been left out on the sidelines after the party had refused to join the government of national unity, despite their interest in governing with the ANC. The EFF and ANC had a bilateral meeting at the weekend about the constitution of South Africa's seventh democratic administration. The EFF restated its interest in working with the ANC, but wanted the DA and the Freedom Front Plus ousted. Joining us now, I'd like to welcome Aishah Cassiem, who is the Western Cape's EFF provincial treasurer. Aishah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah so much for joining us.
Walaikum salam to you and to your viewers as well. Shukran so much for the opportunity.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Aishah, I mean, it's quite clear it was either the DA or the Freedom Front or bust when it comes to the EFF joining this government of national unity.
Yeah, the EFF's position on the so-called GNU and the cabinet in particular is that it is nothing but an elitist pact between the ANC and the DA, with all other parties in the cabinet just being mere spectators. Let me remind everyone, if we can remember, during the elections campaigns, the majority of those parties who now form part of that cabinet and who now form part of the GNU, those were the very parties, including the DA and the Freedom Front Plus, in the election messages, who said that a coalition with the ANC would be any political party who joins the ANC or any coalition with the ANC would be a doomsday coalition. Only for us now to find that the same political parties, who include the DA, like I said, and the Freedom Front Plus, amongst others, including the PA as well, who asked voters not to vote for the ANC, are now serving alongside them in the GNU and in the cabinet, all for the sake of position. As the EFF, we cannot see ourselves as being part of an arrangement with political parties that consider us as an enemy, simply because we are a party that prioritizes Black people, and we're very much unapologetic about it. Let me just add that the EFF's principles and commitments to the poor and the marginalized is not for sale. And we're not here to sell out those in need, and specifically those that trusted us with their votes simply for the sake of position. And I must say that it's very disappointing as well for particular for some of the political parties that were part of the progressive caucus of the EFF and the ATM and the UAT that were enticed to join the GNU in exchange for ministerial and deputy minister positions. We include Al Jamaa, who was sitting alongside Zionists like the DA, the PA, and the Freedom Front Plus. And it is funny how the same political party like Al Jamaa, who during the election period told Muslims to not vote for the DA, do not vote for the PA, and do not stand alongside the Zionist affiliated political parties, are now doing the complete opposite for the sake of position.
Yeah, Aisha, I want to touch on that because obviously there are parties that were part of the Progressive Caucus. Just, if I stand to be corrected, a week ago before this GNU was finalized, the PAC and the Al Jamaa, of course, they're not here to defend themselves, so they would obviously have their side with regards to what they would present it to. But is there a disappointment from the EFF that this Progressive Caucus, which had these parties, have now made the shift? I have to add the UDM because I think the UDM was also part of the Progressive Caucus. So these three parties, is there a sense of disappointment that they've made the sudden switch into the GNU?
Like I mentioned previously, like I said, it is funny how these political parties who stood with us at the conference now took seats in this cabinet for the sake of position. But I want to mention that the EFF made a very generous proposal to the ANC. And our proposal was based on the principle that the ANC maintains its historical mission of uplifting the poor and the marginalized, which is the Black majority and Africans in particular. That was our proposal that we would then support the ANC in that particular quest. And unlike the other political parties who now form part of the GNU, we as the EFF made no demands for ministerial positions and did not use that as a bargaining tool, as you will see with the other political parties who form part of the GNU. We just simply wanted to represent the needs of our people. And we are not prepared, like I said, to be part of any pact which will include the DA and the Freedom Front Plus, who are unrepentant racists. We will not sit on the same platform as Zionists. So, like I said, other political parties had the decision to not be sellouts. I see a lot of our people, including the Al Jamaa party, took that decision to be part and to sit on the same platform with Zionists.
Aisha, I want to touch on this cabinet. Of course, many of the opposition parties, including yourself and the MK party, have hit out at this what is quote unquote bloated government, tons of ministers. And of course, the irony is that President Cyril Ramaphosa, just a couple of months heading into the elections, had said that, look, the ANC, if they come into power, will try and reduce the cabinet. Obviously, what one can see is that it's a cabinet that had to clearly accommodate for members of the ANC, but also members of this other partners of the GNU.
I think that this whole cabinet is just a joke. If we look at the cabinet in its current form, there are already a telltale, or rather telltale signs in many portfolios where the capacity of the appointed ministers are questionable. For example, if we look at the Minister for Agriculture, for example, we have a former dark shampoo salesman like John Steenhuisen, who will head up a very critical portfolio like agriculture with just a matric certificate. Another matriculant, if I may, whose only background is that of being a public rep, will also head up the public works and infrastructure portfolio. And then when we look at a very critical portfolio like forestry, fisheries, and environment, among others, we have another newcomer who has never served in that portfolio before in the previous term, who knows absolutely nothing, but will now head up that portfolio that has so many unfinished work from the previous term, like that of fishing rights, permits, appeals against those fishing rights, allocations, among others. And, it is specifically in those portfolios that is very concerning, where it is clear that these portfolios were just part of the horse trading, and that none of these ministers are actually fit for position or for the purpose.
Aisha, as the opposition, of course, you along with the MK and other parties, of course, for part of the Progressive Caucus, what is priority number one now? Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, when the first sitting of Parliament had happened, your leader, Julius Malema, said that, look, they want to try and institute with the Speaker, the new Speaker, Toko Titiza, to have the impeachment with regards to the Pala Pala scandal with President Cyril Ramaphosa. Is that going to be one of the priorities for the Progressive Caucus, which includes, of course, the Red Berets?
Okay. I will not comment on that for now, but let me say, as the EFF, we will remain in the opposition benches, being in a position that will contest any policies that does not benefit the majority of South Africans, and we will continue to agitate for the poor and express our views in a disciplined and cogent manner.
Aisha, I want to come here to Gauteng because, in this very province, Western Cape is sorted, including the other 7 provinces. But there's no real agreement. I mean, just yesterday, the ANC said that they will not be bullied by the DA in terms of positioning and cabinet members. But there's still the EFF, which has garnered quite a percentage, which, if it does join with the ANC, can make up a 50+1 majority. I don't know, because as we speak right now, so much can happen within the next few hours, few minutes. But do you believe that an ANC EFF coalition here in Gauteng could be something that could occur?
If you look at things, and this is where the disappointment came in as well, I think that it would have been the most logical thing. And, because specifically looking at the policies of the EFF and the ANC, which is much similar. So, and even the constitutes as well, because like I said, it would have been the most logical thing to do. But it's unfortunate that the ANC has now, the same ANC, like I said earlier, who stood in protest shouting, do not vote DA, do not vote for Zionists, are now sitting alongside those Zionists in that cabinet and in that GNU.
Aisha, one final question before I let you go. EFF Western Cape, first and foremost, as of course the legislature will kick in that very same province, what's the priorities for the Red Berets as they are in opposition to the Democratic Alliance there?
I think that with service delivery obviously being a priority in the Western Cape, if you come to the Cape Flats, the only places who are serviced by this DA, you will know, are places where the rich and the privileged live. If you come into the real Cape Town, the real Western Cape, in the farming areas, in the mountains, that is where the poorest of the poor live. I think that our battle continues, our fight continues in terms of proper service delivery. And also mainly on the Cape Flats, we know that the Cape Flats is infested with gangs, with drugs and gangs. And, it's a big issue. And we really need this government to step up when it comes to rolling out more resources, especially to our gang-infested communities like Mitchells Plain, Hanover Park, Khayelitsha, among others.
Aishah, unfortunately, time is up. Shukran so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV. Much appreciated. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's Aishah Cassiem. She serves as the Western Cape Treasurer for the EFF. That's all we have for you here on News in Focus here on Hilaal TV. From myself, Faraz Patel, and the rest of the team in Johannesburg. We'll see you on Thursday. Tomorrow, of course, is Talking Point at this time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.